Hello everybody. We have a game with the white pieces on our rapid speed run against Fan, who plays a Caro Kann at the 1359 rating level. We're going to play an advanced Caro Kann, take the space, cramp him up, see how he responds. What's the point of e5? He can't go knight f6 in any lines. That changes the game, changes the nature of the game. So he develops the bishop. You could develop normally, but I'm abnormal, so I'm going to go h4, and this 1359 hangs the bishop. g4, winning the bishop. And even though he's rated 1359, which is not complete beginner, he falls for this. And this is one of the traps they teach you when you're playing Caro Kann from black, but he has not watched enough videos. Because this is the most basic trap they teach you in the advanced Caro Kann when you watch a video on it on YouTube. Any video that you watch that's, let's say, 30 minutes or longer on the advanced will definitely mention this trap, no matter whose channel it is. So due diligence. And he's now regretting his life decisions. There's this cheeky bishop e4 idea, check. But he just sacks for a pawn. We take the free piece, we're up a piece, we have our win condition. We can now trade all pieces into a winning endgame. So he tries to activate by playing f6, but instead of taking and helping him develop, if he takes us, we just renew our stronghold. He still can't go knight f6. So we don't have to address this. We can just develop, which we should. Let's bring the bishop out before the knight for two reasons. One, there's this interesting battery. Maybe we could sack a bishop at some point. And two, maybe we play a 4 at some point and the knight goes a little more forward, depending. So it's a more flexible, more specific move. He takes, we take, maintaining our restriction on the knight and our space advantage. So he develops the bishop now that there's no d pawn in the way. It makes sense. It eyes all the weak dark squares in my position now that I played f3 and g4. Stop calling me. Okay. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. His bishop's hanging, so let's pick it back up there. Okay. But now we're just up 2 pieces. How's this guy 1400 though? Okay, so we could trade everything just by doing this. Pinning the knight, and then we can take his queen afterwards. Mass trade, the game is over. Let me offer this guy a draw. Come on, guy. There you go. Down 2 pieces. What are you considering exactly? So I did that so we could speed up and get another game for you guys against Florin Cater, rated 1395, who opens with the knight. This does not stop us from putting 2 pawns in the center. However, because it's a Ruy Lopez speedrun, I'm going to hope it transposes for you guys. And it does. You see what I do for you guys? The sacrifices I make, but I don't take the center. Terrible. Oh wait, what am I doing? Let me retreat the bishop now that it's attacked. Will he further attack it? No. He attacks my pawn. I'll just defend and open my bishop. Simple move. He develops his bishop, eyes the diagonal. We castle. King safety. Everything looks good. Okay, he goes for this double attack, which leads me to believe he's going to actually take and give up both pieces, which is not good. So I'm going to start this sequence by taking his knight. He takes back. Now, I just want to kick this knight to undefend the central pawn and see if he sacks. He does. He takes. We have to take, of course. So it's two knights for a rook and a pawn. Two knights. But our knight's currently active. His rooks are currently inactive. We have one inactive knight. Okay, he defends the pawn. There's no obvious targetable weakness. You might even want to just link your king back at some point. However, let's not. How to take advantage. Do we play d4 with our king like that and the development we have? If he just castles, what am I threatening? The central pawn? That's kind of greedy though. Okay, let's just solidify a little bit. Let's get our pieces out before we go on adventures. Now he's ready for f5 against my king. So I really just think throwing in king g1 makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because f5 doesn't, sting at all here. We can take it. He brings out his bishop. We just develop our knight towards the center and everything's peachy. If he takes here, our knight's defended twice, so the tactic doesn't work. Otherwise, he can't bring his queen to these two dark squares. He can go here, but that's going to walk into a rook. He puts a pawn on the dark square, which opens up some light squares. Not sure what the point of that move was. Kind of weird. I'm happy to get an isolated pawn on purpose if it gives me his only bishop and it looks at the central light squares and opens up my queen towards the central square. So I'm purposely giving myself something you guys try to avoid at all costs, and that's an isolated pawn. I see way more advantages if he takes than disadvantages. So also, he has no dark square bishop, so we can play on the dark squares at the right time. We just want to get our queen closer. So he pushes, which attacks our knight, but undefends two important squares. So can I not take this? I mean, both of these are hanging, but my knight's hanging. So can I not take this? I don't see his move. He could push these, but I'm not sure that they're good for him. In any case, we just want another pawn. So, not another pawn, we want a pawn. So now it's two knights for a rook. It was a rook and pawn, but now it's just two knights for a rook. And my knights are active, more so than his rook. Should be good for us. Okay, he's going for a sacrifice. Clearly, also maybe get out of the way of a fork. But my money's on the sack. Huh. There's no way it's good, but I'm just trying to see what's the good move here. If I take the central pawn, which is like asking for the sack, begging him for the sack, he's gonna sack. Okay, and do I have an intermediate move? Because I took a pawn, he took a pawn. But I can go something like knight here, block. Then wait, that hangs a piece because the bishop can take it. So no interference tactic. So here. Okay, let's say I take and he brings it in. Queen up, for argument's sake. He doesn't even have anything except check. Maybe my bishop's not good. I mean, I'm not gonna take the central pawn. I'm just saying like how much can I really get away with here? But I'm definitely not gonna take that. If you just lift your queen up because you want to bring your rook in anyway, and you want to develop, and he sacks and you take and he brings the queen, queen g2, and your knight's hanging. So boom, boom, queen. I'll say your queen's here. Boom, boom, boom. Your knight's loose. But I think knight h2 there covers everything. There's no checks. I think it's good. Okay, let's pre-move. Show him that we know it's up. Just get it into his head that, hey, we knew this was coming. We calculated it. We have a response and we're excited. That will sow doubt in his mind and lead him to find worse moves. If he doesn't take, then what are you doing? And you know what I didn't even consider? Could we have just gone king h2? Yeah, that was definitely just the easiest solution, wasn't it? But I like this one. This one baits him into taking, creating a more complicated position. He doesn't do it. Kind of upset I wasted all that time and he didn't do it. Okay, so he's aligning with our queen. He's defending his pawn. But our knight's on an outpost. Haha. This pawn push, I move my bishop back. This pawn push, I move my knight forward. I mean, I could also move my queen too. He did just move his rook. So I'm going to put it on the F file. So I made one creepy crawly move improvement, one creepy crawly move improvement. Now that his rook is off this file, and I can put it on one of these squares. Also, it x-rays the bishop, which is interesting. Also, coordinates with the rook on f1, which is interesting. And the bishop battery protecting the knight, although that's overkill at that point. So I really like our position. I really wanted him to sack. Oh. Oh. Wait, what? Wasn't the sack better with the rook on f1? Yeah, because now I can actually go queen g2 and my knight's not hanging in this line. So I don't even need to go knight h2. If I go here, he has no pieces, right? So I don't have to calculate any rook moves, so only queen moves. He can do a grand total of jack all once I go here. The game's over. So the sack was definitely better with the rook on it here, pressuring my knight. So I didn't have queen g2, and I had to move my knight back. And then he could have tried to, bring stuff in, but at that point, rook f1, everything's defended. Knight controls the check square. My bishop's a little loose though, so although my queen would have been here, but still a little loose. He goes back. Okay, but that walks into my rook. I want to say, which is where I was going to put it anyway. And again, let's look at my knight, and one of his rooks. One of his rooks is just defending. The other one is not even in the game. I guess it's just defending the rook. My knight, it can hop in for devastating effect depending where he goes. Like it's really an annoying piece on an outpost. This one can jump into the attack the king at any moment. It's attacking the center. So he attacks the knight, but doesn't address the x-ray on the queen. What? I should probably take it anyway, though. Attacks the queen. But I really want to get the x-ray in. So what's like a good free move? This threatens checkmate. So let's get it out of the rook alignment, because that's clearly his idea. So before we throw in any other forcing move, this is the most forcing move on the board. Even if we attack the queen, this is better. And however he defends it, we can queen discover him next with our bishop safer. He may walk into a knight forkable square. He may defend it, in an awkward way. So now the diagonal's open. And now we have a bishop here. So if we jump our knight into the center, he can't take, which he could have if our bishop wasn't there. So then he has to move his queen. Here or here, both are terrible. And maybe I sacrifice. I don't really have time to calculate other jumps, but if here and he moves his queen, uh, here again. Yeah, this one's definitely. Let's go towards the center and see what he does with his queen, and then our position's so good. What's the right move though? If we had our queen on the dark square, so queen g5, threatening this. Also knight sacks if his queen goes this way, but if his queen goes this way, does this do anything? Probably not. Does rook do anything? I mean, it's a good move, but probably not. Just undefends my back rank. So probably I gotta get the queen in. So something like this. Force the trade. Although he can take here. But maybe I give it back to him. Although my queen's hanging. So I can't. Huh. So if he goes here. Oh, this is kind of smart. It defends the knight, threatens the fork, and I've been trying to figure out a way to get this knight back in the game effectively. Because, okay, it's on an outpost, but I think it's done its job. I want it on the king side. So this works because it has double duty. Defense, attack. This is actually, even if you were to defend the square, it's protected too, so I can still make the move. And it's a triple fork. So this was actually a really nice resource that I found total at the end because I was looking more towards the pieces I already had. This one, this one, this one. Clear force, more forcing moves. But this quiet move, quiet improving move is quite nice. I guess you could say this would be the principle of the least active piece in action. Now this now this move at least comes with a check. Also, the fork is still in effect. Also, he walked into us, which should be a serious discovery, should it not? This check. He has to go. He can't. He just loses the game. Because if he goes here, the royal fork, and he can't go anywhere else. He has to, I guess, sack everything here. Yeah, all the squares are covered. And the one square he can go to, he loses the queen, so he has to put a rook there, yeah. Wait, is this, maybe I could checkmate him. Oh no, if he takes this, he can escape. Okay, we get the queen, good enough. And look at our pieces. And then you wanted to know why you cannot do the fried liver attack and then give up two minor pieces for the rook and pawn. Look at these two minor pieces. Right? Look at the rook and pick a pawn, any pawn, your choice. Do you see the difference? That's why. Great example. Hopefully the computer agrees with me. Let's go through the game. We get the start of a Ruy Lopez by transposition. He attacks the bishop, force move. He attacks the pawn. You could go into open Spanish, but I don't know any theories, so I'm not going to. I just make a simple move that any human can play who doesn't know any theory at all, like me. So, because it defends and opens a bishop, it can't be a bad move. And then king safety, development. He goes for the fried liver thing. I eliminate this knight because it's a defender of the pawn that I'm trying to attack. Also, the knight's not actually pinned, so it could have jumped into the center. None of that is possible anymore. Also, my bishop is no longer on the color of my pawns. I know that normally in the Ruy Lopez they play c3 and d4, but he played knight g4 and that changes things around. It says white is already plus 1.4. That's a significant advantage for considering that we're not up anything. And he didn't even go for the really bad idea of giving up the pieces yet, right? He didn't even get to that point. It's still really bad for black. This knight move is just a waste of time, basically. And we're just going to have a development lead. Once let's say he just goes back like a normal person, he still has to castle. We're going to get free moves in the center, but that's how it is. We kick the knight to force the issue. If he goes back, we can just continue with center. But he sacks plus 1.7. So if you don't believe me, believe the engine that white is almost plus 2. We takes obvious. Here you have a choice of development moves. King back. Watch. If I turn on the engine, I'm not even surprised if king back's best. Watch. Okay, so the blue arrow keeps changing because all 4 moves are equal, but at the very beginning, it did say, king back was best, and it's just an obvious move. It still is, top choice along with the other development moves. So just keep in mind your king does not belong here in this position. That's why king g1 makes sense. So we just develop first, solidify. King g1 is not completely necessary, but when he castles, you don't want to play with fire. So he castles, it's plus 2.3, white's completely winning. But we make the smart prophylactic move, just get it out of alignment because why leave it there? F5, so force move so he doesn't kick your bishop and gain space and start some king side attack. Now the center is more open, so he can't just do what he wants with these pawns. Development in center. He makes a random move. Improving a piece and this is also, it's important to throw in moves that provoke your opponent, that look good, that look tempting, but from your position or whatever isn't good for them. So if he takes, you see how he loses, it's plus 1.4, but if he takes, it goes to plus 2. So it's bad for him. So even though we have this isolated pawn, we can cement our queen in here with check, beautiful hole, pressuring all these pawns, weaknesses potentially. So it looks good for us. So that's why I try to provoke him into it. He doesn't go for it. Instead, he makes probably a worse move because this hangs his whole center. But it is tricky, so I'll give him that. It's tricky because once I take, he goes for this thing, and although the engine says it's plus 4, as a human in game, when you're facing a sack, you're not as calm and collected. I wouldn't be surprised, as I said before in the game, if king h2 was, oh my god, they want you to cold-blooded take the pawn. Remember I was trying to see how much you can get away with? So if you take this pawn and he sacks, I'll put the engine back on, and he sacks. Okay, so you just don't take the bishop. I was looking for an intermediate move. I was looking at this, which doesn't work, but it would have been cool. And of course you can go queen d2, and then it's just pawn for pawn, but you can also, that's the exact same thing as not doing that, just going queen d2, I feel like. If you do take the bishop, you're still better by plus 1. So it goes from plus 4 to plus 1. But even here, how do you defend really as white? It's not so easy. Not that it's not so easy, it's just annoying because you do have plenty of pieces, so that's not a thing. And he only has these two, so it's gonna get done, but you still want to do it accurately. Yeah, I guess bishop back is good enough, but why allow this? This is what I didn't want to allow. Okay, now if let's say you go king h2, okay, it's still +3. So in hindsight, I really just like king h2. I think it's just the simplest thing because knight takes pawn is +3.5, and king h2 is +3.0. So go down, some line to calculate, or just king h2, right? Right. I don't play any of those. I play another move that's +3.2, so in the middle, right? Good enough, but and now they're saying he can go for the sack. It's completely losing, but he has nothing else. He doesn't do it. My best move is queen over or rook over. So I find queen over, which made a lot of sense due to the drawback of his last move. And now they're not recommending the sack because my queen it's just a worse version for him. But he goes for it. We take, he takes. Of course, queen g2, why not? Of course, rook f1, why not? And now here, it's +6, so anything, right? But knight h4, queen h5, bishop d4. Yeah, but what other resource does bishop d4 offer? So bishop d4 first, queen g6. Okay, it's the same thing. You could do whatever you want, but we just throw the bishop in first, threatening checkmate in 1. He blocks it like this. Now it's forced mate in 14, which it's so impressive how the computer you know, just instantly calculates everything. It's so not practical for humans to look at engines the way we do and judge based off of it, but so anyway, we find this improvement move for free. It's clearly game winning, +6. We do find his best move, although every move is best, but this is actual best, which is interesting. All the other moves are winning too. And then he blunders mate in 6, although we find a slower version. You can start with the rook, although I didn't even calculate that because I saw that this was immediately winning the queen. And he resigned after this, so that was a really good game. Clean graph. This time, 96% accuracy. It's funny because last game was 95% accuracy, but it had 5 inaccuracies. This time, 96 accuracy, but no inaccuracies. I don't know how their formula works, makes no sense, but I will take a clearly perfect game against, I don't know, Nerui Lopez, which I don't play, but again, they just keep throwing. They just throw their games away, so take advantage and climb the ladder yourself. Send me your videos. Goodbye.